Okay, so hopefully you've read this and gone through it before you watch the video. So I'm going to go right to the example. With this one, can we factor anything out? The answer is yes. You can factor. 2 goes into everything. So if I take a 2 out, I'm left with 2x squared. 4 divided by 2 is 2x. And then 16 divided by 2 is 8. Now, can we factor that? Yeah, what multiplies to give us negative 8? That adds to give us 2. So negative 8 would be, is it negative 2 and 4 or negative 4 and 2? We need to add to be a positive 2. So that would be a negative 2 and a positive 4. So x minus 2, x plus 4. Okay, so that would be factored. Now, with example 2, we can't factor 2 out of everything. So what do? I'm going to show you 2 different ways. With 2x, okay, one way is to kind of guess and check. You know, you have one has to be 2x and one has to be 1x in order to get 2x squared. Okay, kind of a guess and check works if that's just 2 and that's just 1. Alright, but that would be fine. 2x times x is 2x squared. Now I have to multiply to get a positive 1. Well, the only thing we can multiply to get a positive 1 is 1 times 1 or negative 1 times negative 1. We know this is positive, so I know it's got to be 1 plus 1. So plus 1 and plus 1. With these, I do want you to check it. Make sure you've got the right combinations. Okay, x plus 1, 2x times x is 2x squared. X times plus 1 is plus 1x. 1 times 2x is plus 2x, and 1 times 1 is plus 1. So 2x squared. 1x plus 2x is plus 3x plus 1. So yes, we did get it. Okay. Now, I'm going to show you another way to do this. This is by taking, what you do is you take the 2 times the 1, and that's a plus 2. Now we find factors that multiply to give us 2, that add to give us that middle term. Okay, 3, which is 1 times 2. So what you're going to do, if you start out with this, what you would do is say, okay, 1 times 2 plus 1x plus 2x. You're going to split that 3 into 2 different ones. Now, once you have that split, now what we can do is called grouping. Okay, we're going to group it. And then you take your greatest common factor out of the first one, so we can take an x out of that. What's left is 2x plus 1. Here, the greatest common factor between 2x and 1 is just 1, so we take out a 1. You're just still left with 2x plus 1. Now, if you look at these two things, what do they have in common? 2x plus 1. So I can pull that out in front. What's left is x plus 1. Okay, so there you go. Seems harder than this way. This way was quite easy because it was simple, a 1 times 1, but it's not always going to be simple. So let me show you another one. 3x squared plus 4x minus 4. So this one, I know that I can multiply to get 3. If you're just going to guess and check, you can multiply to get 3 by doing 3x and 1x. Okay, that gives you 3x squared. Now, to multiply to get negative 4, this is going to be tricky because we know that it could be 1 times negative 4, negative 1 times 4, or negative 2 times 2. So we can try all the different combinations. So what you can do is set this up multiple times. Oh wait, only 3 times. Okay, only 3 times, sorry. So you can just try it. Plus 1 minus 4. Minus 1 plus 4. Minus 2 plus 2. I know why I had done this. Whoops. So that was 3x, what did I say? Minus 2, x plus 2, because they could also go the other way. 3x with a 1 and negative 4, you could have minus 4 and plus 1. You could have plus 4 and minus 1. You could have 3x plus 2 and x minus 2. And then it would be figuring out what combination of that gave me a plus 4 in the middle. So that is one. Once you have some more combinations, and this was an easier one too. There was only 3. Think about if this were 24, there'd be a lot of those. Okay, so that's hard, but now it's just figuring out, oh yeah, which one works. Maybe that's not the best option. So let's go over here. Let me show you the other method to doing this. You do 3 times -4, that's -12. Write it over to the side. Now, what multiplies to give us -12, that adds to give us 4. Let's see, we have -1 times 12, -12 times 1. Neither of those add to give 4. So -2 times 6 or -6 times 2. -2 plus 6, right there. -2 plus 6 is a positive 4. So I'm going to split this to -2x plus 6x. And then you have -4, and you have 3x squared. So, now we group it. Okay, so if you're writing steps, the first step is multiply first number by last number. Write it off to the side, okay, like I did here. Actually, first, you want to check for greatest common factor. Okay, and then second, we're going to multiply the first term by the last term. And this is if there's a coefficient in the front other than a 1. Okay, coefficient in front other than a 1. So you wouldn't do this if you just had x squared plus 4x plus 4. You wouldn't do this process because there's not a number in front of those. You can straight just factor that. Okay, when it's like this, we check for greatest common factor. We multiply the first number by the last number. You find factors that multiply to that number and add to middle number. And then you split your middle term. Okay, and after that, losing a little bit. Okay, after that, you group it with parentheses. Okay, now we find greatest common factor in each group. Alright, so 3x squared minus 2x. We can take out an x. We're left with 3x minus 2. With 6x and 4, we can take out a plus 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3x. 4 divided by 2 is 2. And it's minus. Now, if you look at both of these, they both have a 3x minus 2. So I'm going to take that out in front. And what's left? X plus 2. So that would be it. So over here, could we have gone through everyone and multiplied it out? Yes. Okay, and right there, that's the one that worked. But this way will always work as well. Okay. Once we find GCF of each, just so if you're writing down the steps of each parentheses, and then find GCF of the whole thing. Does that work? That should be it. Okay, so first thing is you check for your greatest common factor, multiply your first term by your last, find the factors that multiply to that number and add to the middle number, split the middle term, okay, that's where we did this, you split that middle term with those factors, group them with parentheses, find the greatest common factor of each parentheses, and then the greatest common factor of each group. Alright. So that should be it. This is going to take lots and lots of practice, okay? So go ahead and try these two. Refer back to your examples, okay? I did a few of them, and we will do plenty of more practice in class tomorrow.